Great. Yeah, I love this building. So this building, actually, I was also commissioned to write a poem for Arts Court. I have a poem that's part of the building on the west side of the steps, so you can see it in the daytime. I want to thank the Tree Reading Series for inviting me here tonight. They say that if a white person looks at their family tree, a black person will fall out of it. So this building is pretty cool. So I heard that the last national public execution took place here. Who knew that? The man who allegedly killed Darcy McGee. Is it Patrick Whelan? Outside there, that's why they have those big brown doors. They used to hang people and watch them dance as they fell off the walls of the building. Haitian made in Canada. I'm proud to say that my family is from the City of Poets. I don't know if you knew that the father of the author of The Three Musketeers was born in Haiti. I'm from that line of poets. So this year's been a very interesting year. I guess, well, it kind of took a turn last fall when I won the Chalmers Award to do my professional development in South Africa. And then in January I was touring, I was in Australia, and when I got back from Australia, the earthquake hit Haiti, and I was on the ground, and that's when I realized how dysfunctional our council was, because they passed a motion to help Haitians in the city in the state of emergency without consulting with the community. Then I ended up in South Africa. You see, my poetry, my career started shortly after Nelson Mandela's release from prison, and that was a catalyst to my writing. And this year I was proud to say that I was maid of honor at his grandson's wedding in South Africa as a result of my writing in Chalmers here. Out of that, I spent a night in prison in Durban, long story, trying to get to the wedding. Got there on time, made it through the Transkei without a map, wild story. And no cell phone, no BlackBerry. And when, I guess when the family found out about it, they told me to wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning. They didn't tell me where they were taking me. I ended up in front of Nelson Mandela, spent the whole afternoon with him this year in March, and he told me to run for office, so that was, he killed my, well, you know, he started my career and he killed it.
Did he make you read Invictus?
No, I actually saw it 4 times on the plane on my way to South Africa. So I'm going to read a piece. So I've been using my BlackBerry a lot during the campaign. I've heard of so many wild stories. So I was telling you, by the way, this necklace is from Ronnie Brown. Ronnie, thank you for the bling bling. Beautiful jewelry. And
definitely looks good.
Yeah, it looks beautiful. And Sue, thank you. So this is about my death as a poet, from a poet in exile in politics. I wrote this on the campaign trail. Last words from a poet in exile. Poets die, words live. Nature's flesh always gives voices to shadows, the swallow's song. Ashes to ashes, farewell so long. Words outlive the murmur of hope. Pity weeps on salvation's rope. Grace goes to the nature of things. Resurrection revives everything. I've come alive when my words are born. I have emerged, my chrysalis is torn. My flesh acquired a second skin. To me, my words mean everything. When you kill a poet, liberty spawns. Kiss my whispers after dawn. Silence me and you will see the essential nature of poetry. They raped my spirit and assaulted my scars to keep me away from the stars. They threw my dignity in front of cars. My words never wept when they were feathered and tarred. My pen is my sword and I will kill you all. You will rise when I fall. When you blink, my skin will shed. My words will live inside your head. Death to poetry. So I also experienced this thing called, you know, cultural PMS. And it started actually when I worked at Health Canada. I worked in Building 19. Yeah, and I got, one day I got in the elevator after work, and in the elevator, and this woman said to me, where do you come from? And I said, I come from the 11th floor. And yeah, that was Health Canada. So when I say once a month I suffer from cultural PMS, I want you to say once a month I suffer from cultural PMS. Once a month I suffer from cultural PMS.
Once a month I suffer from cultural PMS.
Damn right. I'm a black bilingual technologist. What do you mean? I do exist. Let me be part of your team. Negative attitudes gives me cramps that Advil cannot cure. Let me tell you about some of the things that I endure. Once a month I suffer from cultural PMS.
Once a month I suffer from cultural PMS.
I get cramps from ignorance. I experience mood swings when people pester me about where I'm from. Once a month I suffer from cultural PMS.
Once a month I suffer from cultural PMS.
So like the other day, I was in the elevator after work, and this lady asks me, where do you come from? And I said, I come from
the 11th floor.
And the same lady asks me again. She says, where do you come from? I said, I come from
the 11th floor.
I come from upstairs, the 11th floor, and you come from downstairs. You come from the 5th floor. Once a month, I suffer from cultural PMS.
Once a month, I suffer from cultural PMS.
Diversity is about everything we do. It's about me. It's about you, and you know it's true. Diversity is part of a constant evolution, which is part of a solution that could uplift this nation. Once a month, I suffer from cultural PMS.
Once a month, I suffer from cultural PMS.
Diversity is my personal flavor. It's my unique style that works in my favor. We all have different views, which should be respected since we all come in different hues. Once a month, I suffer from cultural PMS.
Once a month, I suffer from cultural PMS.
So don't freaking ask me if I only eat spicy food or if I like it here. Yes, I hear that too. Get your nasty hands out of my natural hair. Respect my space. Damn, be fair. You make my afro want to take a vacation. Ignorant folks like you should engage in cultural meditation. And when you ask me, Oni Joseph, is it true what they say about black men?
Yes.
My answer to you is yes. They're intelligent and they make excellent friends. Once a month, I suffer from cultural PMS.
Once a month, I suffer from cultural PMS.
I want to be part of a team that shares my dreams. I want to be a leader. I want the green. Society lacks creative solution. Diversity is inspirational. It's a revolution. Once a month, I suffer from cultural PMS.
Once a month, I suffer from cultural PMS.
And this is one of the issues at City Hall I wanted to address. So, interesting stories about, the campaign trail. I took part in many debates, and at one of the debates with, on youth issues, I ran into Jim Watson as a first time as a candidate. And he came up to me and he's like, "Hello, Oni. You're a poet." I'm like, yes. Find me something that rhymes with Watson. And I said, Twatson. Then I, canvassing, I met, interesting people. So I'll tell you a bit about, I do storytelling too. I got to segue into stories. So you know the story. I went to campaign school for women, did my political geography at City Hall, and was part of many committees. I graduated from Leadership Ottawa, stationed in Bayshore, and Alex Cullen was the first person to put his name on the ballot for the mayor's race. So I asked him what he thought of me as a candidate. So he mentored me, and it was crazy. So he mentors me, and then he calls me a month after to tell me that he's running against me. So I broke the story on Twitter, and it was funny. So I'm canvassing, like I'm going door to door. I've knocked on over 10,000 doors. Fuck Jenny Craig, canvassing. But I knocked on this one lady's door, and she said, well, did you know that Alex Cullen sleeps with all of the women on the balcony over there? We call him Alex Cunninglingus. Cullen. Anyways, that was funny. I was just dying, like, it was just too, I know Bayward so intimately. I'm gonna pen a book. I gotta write about this experience. Then I went into this other area, like Michelle Heights, where, I mean, you know, housing is a major issue. You know, more than 30% of the population in Bayward is poor and hasn't graduated from high school. So this woman, like, they burnt her house down in this housing project, and like, you know, and when the police came, they told her that, they suggested that her vibrator set the house on fire. Wild story. Vibrator kindling. It was wild. You know, I mean, it was, I don't know, I mean, interesting ward to run in. So, yeah. What else can I tell you about? You know, we're trying to find you another piece here.
Alex Munter didn't run this time.
No, I worked on his campaign.
We once met, and he told me somebody came up to me and called me Alex Manter. Manter. Munter. You wonder.
Well,
thank you for running.
Thank you. Well,
I wish I'd had the opportunity to vote in the riding. I might have had my proper papers.
Nice. It's interactive, man. So this piece here is called I Am Canadian, Damn It. My morning ritual obliged me to rise for the national anthem. I am Canadian, I'm proud. I sang in unison with my peers. The bilingual chorus resonated in my ears for years. Oh, Canada, terre de nos aïeux. After singing, I was asked to be seated. I commenced my day. I would now be illiterate if the teacher had had her way. Ton front est ceint de fleurons glorieux. Unintelligently, a moron would ask me, where do you come from? So I contemplated the idiot's ignorance with indifference. Car ton bras sait porter l'épée. I called them incoherent. To them I was a gollywog because my hair was spongy like a bog. I was a French frog locked in the jaws of a hog. Il sait porter la croix. I was born in Montreal, in the most Canadien city of them all. I remember Terry Fox, Victor Davis, Pierre-Elliott Trudeau. His son Justin was actually a schoolmate of mine. I remember when Trudeau lost to Joe Clark in 1979. Ton histoire est une épopée. I remember Parliament Hill on Canada Day. And when Ben Johnson won gold, and when Ben Johnson won gold, and when Ben Johnson won gold, des plus brillants exploits. He was instantly Canadian. But when he lost, he was once again Jamaican. And I remember the Constitution in 1982. Et ta valeur. I remember Nadia Comaneci scoring a perfect 10 in the city where I was born, amongst Frenchmen. Deux fois trempés. I remember Meister Fresh West putting Canadian hip-hop on the map. Michi Me was in Ladies First, so I give daps to rap. I remember Oscar Peterson and all that jazz. I remember Haitian immigrants driving taxi cabs. Mathieu de Costa was a friend of mine. He guided Samuel de Champlain into Canada, so why wasn't his black face ever on a dime? I remember Marie-Joseph Angelique shackled naked in Montreal. Slavery existed in Canada. Slavery existed in Canada. Slavery existed in Canada. Potato protégera nos foyers et nos droits. Even if historians don't recall true patriot love, what does that mean? Why does being black and Canadian seem to be so obscene? God has kept my heart glorious and free. African Canadian soldiers fought for wars and liberty. I am Canadian. I am me. Protégera nos foyers et nos droits. Protégera nos foyers et nos droits. I am Canadian, damn it. So, I told you about the flaming dildo. I told you about Alex Cullinlingus. I told you about Twatson. Discovered a lot of interesting history in Bayward. Did you know that the gates of the Parliament were forged in Bayward? I didn't know that. I discovered this residence called the Old Forge, which is at the cusp of Carling and Richmond. And it was owned by the Scusi family. And now the Scusi family's home is now, like where the homestead is now half retirement home, half housing project. Amazing. And the gates of the Parliament were forged. The granite, the stones from the Parliament were actually quarried in Nepean. This like amazing history in Bayward. So, man, police brutality, police profiling in the most marginalized areas. Some of the issues I encountered as well is the fact that, you know, when immigrants come to Canada, I'm a second generation immigrant, and they pick the most intelligent, biggest, fattest, wealthiest immigrants to come here, and then they're put into housing with promises of finding adequate housing, and they become sick really quick, and they can't find their staple foods. I've met doctors and lawyers and amazing people that could help us here that don't have their accreditation to function properly in Ottawa, and they can't find their staple foods, and they live in war zones in the city, and we're fighting wars overseas and we're not fighting the wars in our city. Interesting. I'm not ashamed to say that I'm in pain. Last night I cried for the oppressed and the depressed. My torrent of tears, my torrent of condescending tears dilapidated my plentiful amount of Kleenex, leaving me perplexed, vexed. I grasped my black pen, put it in full effect in retrospect of the painful thoughts that cluttered my head. Instead of going to bed dead, a brother is dead from a pig's lead, a child needs to be fed. He ain't done no wrong to nobody. What about his family morality? Most police ain't got none. Putting trigger on the gun, even on the young, because they think it's fun having brothers around until the lives are done. One day the pig will pay. He'll be taken and fried like bacon. Oh, you think I'm cruel now? It's like colonial rule now. Genocide and feticide, entrenching on my sense of pride. I hate to see a mother crying when her baby lies dead. In the cemetery, picture in the obituary, very, very involuntarily, contrarily to those of us who strive to stay alive. I'm crying. I'm crying. I'm crying. Can't you see that a race is dying? Can't you see that a race is dying? My crack pipe is a call to arms. You don't bother me. I breathe in a society with scars. When the wind blows, I go to work on ghetto-stocracy. Yeah, yeah, jour. Déesse la renaissance, tu es mon espoir, j'ai confiance en toi, beauté de l'univers, ta splendeur règne, mon cœur saigne à te voir. Que tu es jolie, mon cœur crie, je te le dis. Regarde-moi un peu, j'aimerais te dire, s'il te plaît, fais-moi un sourire. Tu es ma passion, passion est-elle ton nom, nom d'une déesse, pleine de pureté, ton regard froid est toute une dureté. Sûreté cruelle qui nous sépare, je suis le soir qui est tout noir, sombre je le suis, Comme dans un puits, on m'appelle aussi la nuit. Ô colonialiste, qu'est-ce qui vous prend? Vous avez volé, pillé, coulé notre sang, évacué du continent, tué ma maman. Escroc, ensorcé, endiablé, si vous m'aimez, vous mentez. L'esclavage va s'éroder, vous verrez saleté. Si emprisonner sert à protéger, et si protéger sert à menacer, pourquoi libérer un messager de vérité qui a sa liberté? Pauvre confus, avez-vous bu? Cela ne m'a pas plu trop d'abus non résolus, une rue sans insu. J'atteindrai la lumière au fond du tunnel, je gagnerai le pot d'or au bout de l'arc-en-ciel, à la place d'un cœur, vous l'avez que du fiel. Mais un petit conseil, effectuez le réveil, car c'est nous qui sommes les merveilles. Car c'est nous qui sommes les merveilles. If Mary's eyes were blue, Mary's eyes, and if Mary's hair was blonde, do you think that a Roman soldier would have told her to run along with a bun in her oven and 9 months gone? If Mary's eyes were blue, and if Mary's hair was blonde, do you think that a Roman soldier would have told her to run along with a bun in her oven and 9 months gone? If Mary's eyes were blue, and if Mary's hair was blonde, she'd have been lodging at Hilton and not in a manger on a lawn with a bun in her oven and 9 months gone. If Mary's eyes were blue, and if Mary's hair was blonde, blacks in hotels would not be allowed, and whites would sit on clouds with buns in her oven and 9 months gone. Mary's eyes were not blue. They were jet, they were black. She was a black Madonna, prima donna. That's a fact. If Jerusalem is to the east, then they came from the west. They followed a star from Africa. I'm good in geography, I know best. Jesus was not blue-eyed. Jesus had a fro. Don't brainwash me with your BS Bible studies, or I'll tell you where to go, 'cause Mary's eyes were not blue, and Mary's hair was not blonde. And that is why a Roman soldier told her to run along with a bun in her oven and 9 months gone. So yesterday I went canvassing with 4-year-olds and a baby, and I taught the baby how to say vote for Oni. It was great. So I'd ring a doorbell and vote for Oni. It was adorable, really great. And you know, it's amazing, like for those who don't play sports, like if kids had arts, if they had poetry, if they had things to do to be like less trouble in the community, it doesn't cost much. You know, Terry Curry wanted to hire the RCMP to shoot everybody and to arrest everybody. No, I mean, that's not the solution. Like, people need to be engaged. People need to participate. So, you know, I did this little mitochondrion rap. Like, you know, I taught these kids a little science lesson. I taught them that the mitochondrion was the lung of the cell, right? And it kept you pumping. So, you know, I said, I flow on like a I flow on like a mitochondrion, lung of my cells, I can't flow on. Lord, I bless you for letting me carry on. I flow on like a mitochondrion, lung of my cells, I can't flow on. Lord, I thank you for letting me carry on. I'm a lyricist. I tongue twist this for show business. Why wouldn't I have the vocab to flow for the show? I flow on like a mitochondrion, lung of my cells, I can't flow on. Lord, I thank you for letting me carry on. And then people said to me, you know, Oni, you know, why are you running? Like, why should I vote for you? And I told them, I said, you know, listen, man, you know, I do have poetry in my DNA, and I do relate to you because there was a point in time in my life. I mean, I'm a single mother of 3. I have teenagers. I had my children when I was really young, and you know, it was hard. I mean, I was homeless. I moved back to Ottawa. I started my life over from scratch. And the best gift my mother had for me, like, you know, she put me, the best gift my mother gave me was my education. She put me in school because she thought that as a young mother, I'd be a hazard to myself and to my children. And I was really happy for the opportunity. I wasn't expected to graduate. Not only did I graduate on top of my class, but poetry helped me study. So I studied in interactive multimedia, and I converted all of my notes into poetry. So during my exams, I used mnemonics, my syntax rhymed, and I knew I was a poet, and I loved poetry. And poetry saved my life, because if I didn't have poetry, I would be dead. So, you know, you can only be yourself because the others are taken, right? You know, be yourself. I'm a poet, and I know it, right? So, I mean, I'm 37, but I feel 105. I feel like Yoda. Straight up. What other story can I tell you about Ottawa? So, you heard of the McGinty's? Have you heard of Mother McGinty? You know, she opened the second bar in Ottawa called McGinty's, which is on Perron Murray. And at the time in Ottawa, you know, so I was the only woman running in Bay Ward. I was running in a crazy field, and I mean, Mother McGinty's one of the Ottawa women I really admire. So in Ottawa, women couldn't immigrate to Ottawa when it was called Bytown. So you could only immigrate to Bytown if you were the wife of, or the daughter of, or a niece of somebody working on the canal. And Mother McGinty was someone's niece, and she worked, you know, she opened a bar, and she opened a brothel called McGinty's. And during Bytown, you know, women didn't get any press. Like, you seldom heard about women in Ottawa. So it's really hard to do research about Ottawa because women in Ottawa got no press. But Mother McGinty was bad because she was Madame. And if you go through the Ottawa archives, the Ottawa prostitutes were called prostitutes. They were called Amazons, and they would fuck you up, man. You didn't pay, they, oh my God. Whew. So, you know, when Mother McGinty, well, when people didn't pay her, she was illiterate, you see. And she kept her tabs with this, like, chicken and scratch, hieroglyph type thing. If you didn't pay, she would publish your name and your tab to the Ottawa Citizen. And she would go to church, and she would kick your ass. And the Amazons would also beat you, too. And you know, she's related to the famous McGinty's, but they don't own her. Yeah. And now you know why they're in office, because they'll fuck you up.
Thanks, son.
Yeah. But I will do my last piece because, you know, I think the issue I have with marginalization in the city is that, you know, HIV is on the rise in Ottawa. And especially with newcomers, and Ottawa has a very low health literacy index. I don't know if you know what that is. And the health literacy index means that you have the literacy to get what you need in terms of, you know, if you break your arm, knowing how to get services. And it's crazy, and it's sad, and it's A, acquired, I, immune, D, deficiency syndrome. It's A, acquired, I, immune, D, deficiency syndrome, drum, 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 drum. A, B, C, D, H, I, V, 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 V. Let's make use of condoms, please, 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 please. If you lick it or you stick it, this disease is very wicked. We don't like poets because poets speak the truth. We always try to silence poets, but poets are. By the time I count to 10, 10, 10, 10, the truth. One of us will lose a friend. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There are beautiful lives in paradise. It's unfortunate that many will never survive. A condom dispenser needs refilling. Stop the killing, damn it. Many of us have wanted dead or alive to survive. You must be protected. Green light means go, red light means stop, rewind, or get injected, 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 injected. 5 young persons get infected with HIV every minute. Wild and free, carefree, gullible, confused. I got news. The highest infection rate is with young persons aged 15 to 25 D. Deficiency syndrome. A. Acquired eye immune. D. Deficiency syndrome. Shroom. A, B, C, D, H, I, V. Let's make use of condoms, please. If you lick it or you stick it, this disease is very wicked. By the time I count to 10, one of us will lose a friend. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 jours. Déesse de la Renaissance, tu es mon espoir, j'ai confiance en toi. Beauté de l'univers, ta splendeur reine, mon cœur saigne. À te voir, que tu es jolie, mon cœur crie, je te le dis, regarde-moi un peu, j'aimerais te dire. S'il te plaît, fais-moi un sourire, tu es ma passion, passion, écris ton nom, nom d'une déesse pleine de pureté. Ton regard froid et toute une dureté. Dureté cruelle qui nous sépare. Je suis le soir, qui est tout noir. Sombre je le suis, comme dans un puits. On m'appelle aussi la nuit. Merci.